Hello there. How are you? I am Faisal and today I am back with another exciting project. This is the third project in our API practice series. If you haven't watched the first two videos, make sure to check them out. I shared some useful tips and concepts there as well. Now let's talk about this project. Honestly, this one is even better than the last two. In this project, we are using a third-party database where we will create, read, delete, and even later update data using different API endpoints. So this is a complete CRUD operation based project using APIs, perfect for polishing your API skills. What this project is about? You will see two main buttons on the home page: start random quiz and select categories. This is basically a quiz web app. You can either get a random quiz or choose a specific category. When the quiz loads, you solve the questions and submit your answer. Your result will be saved to a third party database through an API call. Later, we will fetch and display that data. Currently, there is no update feature updating the database, the third-party database feature, because it wasn't needed for this project. But we will try that in another one. About the interface, there is a line of text you can see on the screen. I originally planned something for it, but ended up not using it, so just ignore it. When you click the start a random button, it will generate 10 random quiz questions. These questions are not saved in our app database. It is basically came from an external API, and all the other data is also coming from the other API. No need to store them in our own database. Everything is handled by APIs. And here is another button for quiz setting. We also have a section where you can choose the category. There are all there are different categories, and all these categories are coming from the API. We have not saved these API these categories into the in our database. And then the difficulty and type. Like difficulty will be easy, medium, and hard, and type there will be multiple choice questions, and there will be true and false questions. Let's start with a simple quiz. Let's select general knowledge, then easy, and then multiple choice, and start the quiz. Okay, this app will generate 10 quiz questions based on the selected settings. We answer them or guess, in my case, then submit our answers. And let's guess it. Let's check what's going on. Okay, then, okay. When we submit, an API workflow will run in the background and the result gets saved in our third-party database. Here is the third-party database. This is a platform named as MockAPI. It gives us a free database and API endpoints to manage our data. Super helpful for learning and building. At first, our database is empty. You can see there is nothing in our database, but once we submit the quiz, you will see the result here. Now let me submit this. Okay, our guess is not pretty good. There is only one is corrected. You can also the correct answers are also showing here. There is also a logic behind this. I We will talk about it in the building process. Now let's move to the database. You can see here is a new entry created successfully. You can see the result. For now, as we not logged in our user, so there is no name, and I just create a static no name. That's why it is no name. A result of one, the user unique ID, the category we selected, and the ID. We are using this ID, not this unique ID. Now, after saving this result, you can see there is a new show previous score is visible. This button fetches the user past results using another API call. The results shown are different for each users. Okay, now let's see. As you can see, we just attempt the general knowledge and we have only one corrected answer. That's why it is showing us this one. Now let's try with a random quiz and check it out. Actually, in the random quiz, there is a mixed up of different kind of categories. There are also hard questions, easy and maybe medium, and there are also some true false questions and multiple choice questions. Now let's guess it again and check what's going on. Okay, and C, A, and B. Now submit it. Wow, we have six. Six now corrected answers, and you can also see here is a random quiz with six is came successfully. And if we check the database, there is a new entry also created successfully. Okay, so this is the overview of the project. These are some main features of this project. Now let's start building this project. So this is the editor of our project. First of all, as we know, we need to install this API connector plugin and we need to set up our APIs. There are two type of APIs we are using in this project, and all of these are their different endpoints. One is the MockAPI, and the second one for generating quiz is what is the name of this API? OpenTDB. This is a platform, but if we go to their documentation, and the documentation is very confusing. So I think you don't need to go to their documentation. I will provide these URLs in the description of the video. You can copy them from the description. And the other good option is you can go to the chat GPT and ask him for all the endpoints of open TDB platform, and the chat GPT will provide you all the endpoints, all their parameters, and also the required information which is necessary to know working with these endpoints. It will be good option, and it will be also a kind of practice of yourself. Now let's start this. Okay, so this first API, and this will generate a random quiz. As you can see the name of the API, when we click this button start random quiz, and this API runs, and there are a random 10 amount. As you can see, I have set it 10. The max amount will be 50 and the less amount will be 1, but I make them static. You can make it dynamic, but I made it static. Now it will generate 10. Yes, it will generate 10 quiz. And here is our token. This token is when you go to the let me give you the URL. This is the URL for getting the token. When you copy this URL and paste it in the search bar and search, the request token will be generated, and you need to use that token. There is no requirement for the token. This is just an optional thing. You can also skip it, but if you want to use this, you can use it by this way. Okay, this is for this API. Now let's move to the next one. Okay, this API is basically for getting all the categories which are showing here. These all categories is coming from this API. What is in this API? This is the main URL of the API. There is no required parameter in this. Just get call with the data, and you will get all the categories here with the IDs. There is an ID of every category. We also consider this ID as we will use this ID. Okay, now let's move to the next one. Get question according to the instruction. Okay, so this is basically the URL for getting the response of this API call. When we select different our specific category, our difficulty level and type, and call the API, then this API will be run and we get our response. This is the URL. I will provide this in description also, but you need to make sure that use it as an action, and the call will be get. And here are the URL parameters. These parameters are because we are using this bracket here. When we use this, it will shape like parameters, and we will send these parameters to the URL, so it will be helpful. And the token same as here. Now let's move to the next API. This is the access token. This is not necessary part, you can skip it. Now this is the important part of this project, as we are using this mock API. Now let me explain this. Okay, the URL of this platform also in the description. You can access this from the URL. When you log in, make an account. After making your account, you will be redirected to this page. You need to create a new project. You can only create one project. As I created my project, that's why it is showing me this pop-up to update my plan. But in the free plan, you can create one project. Then after creating this one project, you need to create a new resource here. After creating this new resource, you need to name it. You need to name your resource, as I named it as results. Okay, after naming it, then you need to create your a database fields. What are the fields we will use? As in our bubble database, we create fields here. These fields, we also need to create those fields here. Now if let me close this. If we go to this data, you can see here is this is some default fields. We will not change these fields. There are some new fields like name, result, user unique ID, category, and ID. You need to create these which are not needed. You can delete them, then create a new one. Name it, like for example name. Then you need to select the type string. And for like all this, you need to set up all the fields we need. As you can copy these fields here, like name, result, user unique ID, and ID will be there already. Now when you set up your fields, then you will get some endpoints. Let me make it example. Example. Now you can see here are the endpoints. Okay, how these endpoints will be work? This let me move to this URL. Okay, this is the URL which will which will use in the start of every endpoint. And the next are the endpoints which is provided by this platform. Okay, so you need to copy this URL, this part of URL, and then you need to use your endpoint, like this example. As we named it as an example, that's why every endpoint is using this example. Okay, so after using this, here is a token. I have used it in this URL. As you can see, if we you can see this is the exact URL. You need to just copy this URL and use it at the place. This is this is for now, this is mine token, and on your side this will be yours, and you need to copy your own. Now after copying this URL, just replace it with the dynamic data. Paste this token here, and also check this private. Now this endpoint will get our all the data in the database. Like if we get, okay, for now there is only one, and that's why it is only giving us only one entry. This endpoint will give all the data in the third party database. This endpoint is used to create a new entry, and the endpoint type will be post. Use an action same as token, just because of post and these parameters. These are some necessary parameters, and these are the parameters which we are creating when we are running this API workflow. These are the parameters, and you need to uncheck the private and just initialize this call. When you initialize this call, this will create an entry in the database, and you can check if the entry is created successfully. It means the this call is also working. Now let's move to this one. This call is basically used here for getting this specific result on the basis of the ID. Okay, so this is the URL, and if we go to this one, you can see here, this is the this is the endpoint for node. This is the endpoint for getting the data by their ID. There is token and the ID, and when you initialize this call, you will get this specific data of this ID. Okay, now this is this endpoint for updating data, but we are not use this. This is basically put here and use as an action. Okay, and the last one is for deleting the uh, deleting the data from the API from this platform. Okay, so this is the API setup. Now let's move to the design tab. Okay, first of all, simple text, some simple text. Okay, now there are a group with a repeating group in it, and the data source of the repeating group is uh, search for quiz. Okay, let me move to the database. This is the database we need to set up. This is the name of table, and these two entries we need to set up for getting the specific data. Like for specific user there will be specific data. We need to store the ID. When we make the API call, we are storing the ID and the user in the database, so we can get the specific data on the basis of this data type. Okay, now in the repeating group, we are searching for all the quiz results according to current user. Okay, now there is a group inside this repeating group. Okay, and this is the text. So basically, this text is an API call. It will show the result of the API call of getting a result from on the basis of ID, and the ID is basically current cells ID. If you can see here, we select this get result by ID, and the ID is parent group result ID, and we are getting category here, and the next we are getting the result here. And this is basically hide on the page load. uh, this text is hide on the payload, and this is only showing when there is some data in the database related to current user. And this icon, this is basically running the last API call setup for deleting the data according to their ID, parent group ID, and deleting data, also deleting data from this database. Okay, now let's move to the next session. Okay, for this is basically showing the result of the quiz here. I have set up some custom states for getting the result. This is the most tricky part for me to handle these results. You can, if you have some better choice, you can follow your own, but this is what I have. So this is very tricky for me to do to achieve this. Okay, you need to set these custom states here. Let me. Okay, this is the corrected answer and text and list. Then there is a result number, and there is submitted yes and no. Okay, now these are some custom states, and I am just showing the count of correct answers and what is going on these buttons. When first of all, we need to check these repeating groups. This is the parent group with the API call, like the first API call. It will show the random quiz. When we click on this button, our workflow is run. First of all, it is resetting the groups, both groups. Like you can see, there are two groups. One is for showing the result of selecting after selecting category, and the first one is showing the random result of random quiz. And when we added this, it will just reset both of these, then hide the group M. Okay, let me see the group M. This is the group M. If in any situation, if there is no quiz found, this group will be shown. So if this is showing, it will firstly hide this group, and then it will run the API for getting the random quiz, and then display the result of step one in group API call and hide the text, basically hiding this text, this result. Okay, and when there is a repeating group inside this, and the data source of the repeating group is the parent group API call results. So in the uh, in the results we are showing these uh, dynamic options on the screen, and when the value of these dynamic options changed, there are we are storing is the answer is correct. If it is correct, we are storing in the correct answer state, and if it is false, we are not storing it on the basis of these conditions. Like every when we get a response from our quiz API, there is also a correct answer, and we are fetching the correct answer from that, and then we match. If the correct answer is the same, then we will store it. If it is not same as the selected option from radio buttons, if it is not same, we are not storing them. So this is the flow for that. Now let's move to the next one. This is the same, everything is same in this group, but this is showing the this select category. Okay, after selecting category, this is basically showing the category group. And if we move to the category group, we can see the all the categories are coming from the API call open TB categories, get all the categories. For easy, medium, and hard, I have created some option sets, difficulty and type. Now when we select after selecting the category, this button is basically changing in the start quiz, and when it is changing to the start quiz, first it is resetting them, then it is generating the quiz according to the user provided instructions. And as you can see, I have make this static 10. You can give an input field and then handle it dynamically. Okay, now in the next step, it is just displaying the data, and reset all the relevant input field, hiding all the, and showing the group M. If there is no MCQs find, if there is no MCQs found, it will just show the group M, this text, it will show this text. If found, it will hide them. Okay, now the submit button. First of all, it will show the result, then it will scroll our page to on the top, so we can saw the result. Now it will generate it will make another API call to create data in the database. Here are the parameters, here are some conditions. On the basis of these conditions, it is creating the result. Like so this conditions is basically if for category, if the quiz are random, so it will store the data in the category section, it will store random quiz. And if it is basically for any specific category, it will save the category of the like we can say of the API call. Then it will create a new database entry, and it will create another database entry on the basis of some conditions. And okay, so this is the overview of all the project, how it creates and how it works. Thanks for watching, and if you need any help, you can comment it, and or you can contact me on my social media. I will reply you, and we can solve your problems. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.